Hey, Swubs here with a mercenary build to freeze out our opponents, but instead of doing the stereotypical freeze mercenary build, I'm trying something out a little bit different with a equipment that I've been really wanting to use for quite a long time. Band of Frost gives you 3 additional frost damage every time you freeze a mercenary, but until very recently you didn't have enough other mercenaries or other ways to actually freeze out your opponent. And with the addition of Drek'thar, I think we finally have hit a critical mass where we can actually make this equipment actually playable. So let's do a mercenary by mercenary breakdown. The first mercenary on the team is Drek'thar, and we're using Glacial Blade as his equipment. This is what inspired me to actually do this build, because this does allow us to have an additional way to actually freeze our opponent each given turn. And the main ability that you're going to want to fully upgrade when it comes to Drek'thar is his first one, Blood Frenzy. You really don't ever use the other 2 abilities. Here and there you might use the Fel Corruption, but you have no way to trigger it to become Shamanism, so it's not even worth mentioning that much. The next mercenary on the team is Varden. We're using Varden for their equipment Band of Frost, and the other reason why this build is built the way I build it, as mentioned before. And for the most part, you're going to be using the first 2 abilities on Varden, though it is really nice to be able to get an extra freeze here and there with Ice Lance if you know you can counter a opponent's key mercenary from getting off their key ability. The next mercenary on the team is Lokholar. We're using Frigid Winds to scale up our frost damage even more, and we're mainly just using him for Hailstorm as his ability. You can't do a frost-based build without having Lokholar on the team. Next mercenary on the team is Jaina. Jaina, we're using Ice Block Talisman, but you could also use Frost Dust if you really want to increase the HP and survivability of her elementals if Varden is alive by the time you actually put her down, but that doesn't always happen, and I think using Ice Block is a much safer bet most of the time, and you mainly are going to probably be using Ice Flows and Water Elemental. Balinda is the next mercenary on the team. Usually it depends on what the actual matchup is, if you want to put Balinda down next after one of your first mercenary dies, or Jaina as your 4th mercenary, and we're using the equipment Lesser Water Elemental as an additional freeze target, while also having her first ability Flame Dart to increase the frost damage a opponent's mercenary will take from our frost damage from our other mercenaries, and Frostburn, which will just scale up all of the frost damage. And finally, we're using Cookie. Cookie's mainly in here for appetizers, as you are using Drek'thar, and since he's a attack-based mercenary, he is a little bit squishy, and it also increases the survivability of some of our other mercenaries. With that being said, let's look at some games. Okay. So, even split doesn't tell us much, especially because Trigore is basically in every build, so that's always going to be 1 protector. Okay. Double speed increase Shadow? What the hell's on the bench then? What, Sinestra? Protectors that do shadow damage. Why can't I think of any right now? Gonna kill their Valera, which is great. Actually killing 2 of their mercenaries, which is pretty good. One has to be Trigore, right? Sylvanas would also be technically a good option, depending on what the other ones are. Okay, so it is Trigore, and it is Sinestra. That's a little bit frustrating. This is not going to survive. This is going to kill Lokholar. And what's the last? That's actually a pretty good hit. Doesn't technically kill. Come on, we just need 1 more hit. It's not where I wanted to see it go. Oh, that's going to be... Yeah, we're just going to do it like this. That's going to be 3 speed, which is good, but doesn't actually do much for us. I'm going to do that. That's 6. Well, unless they attack, that should kill Trigore. Knew that was going to happen. Kill the Trigore there. Varden dies. Maybe I shouldn't have done it like that. Right, so their last 2 mercenaries are going to be... Oh, they're permanently slowed. We're actually in a good position. We can just keep freezing this. Alrighty, let's do frost damage, do that. We'll freeze, and then we'll put the fish out. Oh, that's a perfect fish here, actually. They attack into that. We keep freezing. Do that. We nuke this. Yeah, let's do it like this, and we should win this turn, or next turn. Killing the Sinestra. They freeze their own mercenary, and we win. Alrighty, so they're mainly casters, which makes me think Frost. Actually, it could be Shadow too. Shadow might be a little bit frustrating if that one protector is Trigore. Oh, it's not. It is Shadow though. The one issue with this build is you can't consistently guarantee you're going to kill any target mercenary. I think Jaina and Balinda are like the major two that you can actually guaranteed damage on, but it doesn't always work. Because this could just stay alive for who the hell knows how long. We're going to do this. Freeze like that. They don't have any healing, so that's fine. This should give us a huge spike in damage here. We might be able to actually kill everything of theirs here. Freezing that. They freeze us, but that's fine. Do have a shit ton of damage here. How much was that doing? 15 per hit. That's actually pretty nice. Okay, so they have fighters on the bench. So probably more dragons. Okay, that's weird, but that's fine. Oh, we're frozen, so that doesn't really matter much. We're gonna do that, and then we're gonna do this. No, they're going to be quicker no matter what. We could do this, I guess. Yeah, let's do it like that. Well, that's actually a shock. They actually went for that. Lokholar is going to do a bunch of damage here, probably killing their entire team, almost doing all the damage needed to kill Sinestra in one turn. And we'll just do this and we'll win. Alrighty, so looks like it's an even split team. There's a lot of possibilities it could possibly be. I haven't really pushed rank too much this month just because the main part of the game had a expansion, so it's dragons. That's a little bit interesting, especially with Onyxia on the team. We're just going to do our stereotypical start. There's not much variation we can do here. Okay, so we're going to hit the Nefarian a bunch. We might actually kill a Nefarian here. We don't. They do actually use Elon to attack the Drek'thar, which is perfectly fine. And we're just going to repeat the last turn completely here again. Okay, so we don't kill both. We do kill one. They do kill our Drek'thar, which is fine. We're actually in a pretty good position at this point. We're going to put down Balinda next. Okay, Sinestra needs to die instantly. Lokholar might not actually survive long enough for it to matter too much. We're going to try to do our stereotypical combo. I think we're quicker than all three of their mercenaries, besides Sinestra's heal, that is. They might try to heal up Onyxia, which would be a mistake. They don't. They do actually manage to kill Lokholar. Okay, so we're going to put down Jaina next. We should be able to AoE here, I think, with both Varden. Actually, if we AoE with Varden and with Balinda, we should be in a pretty decent position. We could guarantee the freeze on their entire board. Then we'll just attack or use her one ability. We might actually been able to use her first ability, which I never really do in any builds that I use her in, but this is the safer bet, I think. Okay, so they're gonna focus down Balinda. We're gonna freeze their board, which is great. That's gonna hit Varden. Gonna do a bunch of damage here. We killed the Sinestra, and we should just win from here. Okay, so they're mainly fighters, which might be bad news for us, depending on what it actually is, and how often we can actually freeze. If we can continue to freeze all their mercenaries, we're actually in a pretty good position, even if they are mainly fighters. Okay, so they're beasts, which is kind of interesting. Haven't actually done anything with Trigore just because he's such meta relevant threat right now, and I thought it would be really boring to try to use him. Just going to do our stereotypical starting turn. This is really a cost of a coin if we're going to actually manage to kill Lokholar, not Lokholar, Trigore in the first turn or not. We hit the Chi, which is not necessarily what I want to see. And our Varden is definitely getting brute forced here. Lokholar is going to get a lot of damage taken here too. Just need us to hit the Trigore at least once. Come on. That's always frustrating. I guess we actually got one hit. The good news is they can't do enough damage to Lokholar, I don't think, before he can actually use his ability. Even if he only has 1 HP. I'm trying to think of what Anacondra's speed is. We're gonna freeze, AoE. Actually, maybe we won't AoE. Though we should have enough damage to actually do it. Flurry might be just a better option overall. It's really... Because if we use the AoE, we might be able to actually freeze their entire board, but we might not also be able to, depending on how much they heal here. We're going to freeze their one mercenary. And Lokholar can still hit through his own death, which is hilarious to me. And he's just going to eat up all this free damage that they would have normally had. They heal the Trigore. And then we lose our Varden here. We're going to put down Cookie and Jaina. No, let's put down Balinda instead. Trying to freeze the Trigore. We can AoE with the Drek'thar just because we have nothing else to do with Drek'thar. Might as well. We're not using him for his equipment anymore. Should probably actually attack with the Elemental. Or just keep it for whatever their bench actually is. They're going to heal up everything here. We're going to kill their Trigore. They're going to kill our Drek'thar, but that's perfectly fine. And then we do have Cookie to snipe off their Anaconda next turn. And now we get to see what the last two mercenaries are. Okay, Zwin and... oh, King Crush is going to be a little bit annoying to deal with. Going to try to freeze King Crush and then just do a bunch of damage to Zwin as we humanly can, and then try to kill Anaconda, which should allow us to increase the HP on our Elemental. They actually used Crush's second ability, which is interesting. We put up a taunt here just so we can try to protect our Jaina as long as possible. Going to attack into the King Crush with the taunt, use Frostburn again, and then summon another fish, see what we can actually get here. Probably should have actually used the attack on... oh, I guess it doesn't matter. They're going to freeze. They're going to actually summon a Devil Sword, which is kind of a shock. Only builds that I thought would ever want to use that ability is something with Sylvanas, but I guess they were trying to prevent themselves from being frozen out of the game? I don't know. And we should just win this turn. Okay, even split team. We're going to use Drek'thar, Varden, and Lokholar. Okay, that's going to be a little bit annoying. Actually, it depends. We might be able to kill her easily. Really depends where the Lokholar Hailstorms hit. Is the main issue. They're probably going to use Yu'lon's ability, but if we actually hit Yu'lon with Drek'thar, we'll be in a pretty good position. Oh, I guess they could put up a taunt too. That's a little bit annoying. Okay, we almost killed the Sinestra, and that's kind of a... I guess it makes sense that they're trying to go after him so hard, but it would have been smarter to just use Yu'lon on Drek'thar. We do get the Sinestra, and we should just win from this position. We're way ahead. That might be a little bit annoying to deal with. We're going to attack. We're going to shoot through random things. And do that. Actually, if we freeze this... No, Lokholar is faster than anything that isn't or Onyxia. That's actually probably a perfect hit right there for us too. Yep, that's going to roll over there. Then Balinda is next. Evoke is down long Shin. That should minimize the amount of damage they can actually output. Do that. Do this. That. Okay, they're swapping positions. Sucks a little bit, but it's fine. Getting one of them dead. And we win. Alright, now that we're through the games, let's discuss my final thoughts of the build. So, this build was actually really good. It doesn't shock me that much. It isn't that big of a twist on a stereotypical Frost build, but it is a lot of fun to be able to use a new mercenary that no one's actually using in the form of Drek'thar, and does allow you to use a equipment that will always have the potential to be even better if we do get more Frost support. Though I know a lot of people aren't going to want that, including myself. So this is probably the best way you're going to actually be able to abuse that equipment. So if you have all these mercenaries unlocked and have all these equipments leveled up, this is an easy build for me to recommend. Otherwise, you might just be better off trying a stereotypical Frost build if you don't have some of the equipments used in this build that make it work. With that being said, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, bye-bye.